Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel down below. You follow us on our TikTok, our Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube is just down there in the description button. And if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you guys go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. It really helps us out. And thank you guys and enjoy the video.
Ten Hag comes in beginning of last summer. He says, "I want full control of transfers, a squad, and everything." He really instilled that he wants to be in charge of everything, which for the most part he has. We saw. I say there's three big things he's done so far. One is the whole Ronaldo situation. He was kind of at the helm of that. Saw he wasn't really a good influence on the squad right before he left, so he was kind of kicked him out then. And now De Gea too. We've seen a lot of reports over the last couple of weeks and months that the club was looking to give De Gea an extension on his current deal that would keep him at the club for another year or two. And then Ten Hag ultimately said, "No, I want a new keeper." So we let De Gea's contract run out, and now we're saying bye to Dave. And now the third one, which we're seeing now, with very recent reports, is that Maguire is going to get stripped of his captaincy, and it will likely be handed to Bruno Fernandes, who, for the most part, was our captain this season when he's been playing, and Maguire's been on the bench. But I'd say those are the three main parts of the ruthlessness we've seen from Ten Hag this season. And I, I for one, I really like that we have someone in charge who's like really putting their foot down when it matters and making these big time decisions. That isn't going to please everyone, but he's saying, "I'm the manager. This is my input on how the team should be run. This is my job," and he's really been doing a great job at it. What about you, Spence? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I completely echo all what you're saying because I think Ten Hag, if you look at Erik Ten Hag, and I see a lot of similarities between Erik Ten Hag and another manager in Manchester, and that's Pep Guardiola. Not just because they're bald beauties, but at the same time, I think both of them are ruthless in so many decisions they make. You look at Pep Guardiola with João Cancelo last season. João Cancelo is a fantastic footballer, and he made the decision that, hey, if you don't want to be a part of the team, I'm not going to hold you hostage. And Ten Hag has done very similar things with Maguire having to make that strong decision of, look, you were the club captain before I came in, but hey, Bruno Fernandes is my club captain, or maybe someone else. And I don't think Maguire is really going to stay with us. So I think it was a smart decision. And then with the whole Ronaldo thing, Cristiano Ronaldo has so much pull from the locker room to just everywhere, really. He such a big influence. And Ten Hag has said, look, I'm the manager. You're not bigger than the club. You need to chill out. And he put his foot down. And then also with this whole, what was it? The leaks coming out of the dressing room. That was a big thing before Ten Hag came in. And I don't know if you've noticed, Chris, but at a lot of press conferences, Ten Hag is not very revealing of his plans. And some people think it's deceiving and he's lying a lot, which may be perceived as bad. But for me, I think it's good because you can't tell everyone what you're going to do. So obviously he's going to tell everyone in the media, hey, I backed David De Gea. He's my goalkeeper. Because we can't go out and buy a new goalkeeper when we're in February, you know? So you might as well back the goalkeeper that you have, even if he's going through a rough patch, because you can't tell yourself, oh, hey, De Gea sucks. So, he's got to do better. That's going to kill his confidence. So he's got to do the best with what he can. And I think although he was deceiving, there was a purpose in that. And so I think Ten Hag's ruthlessness is really important. And I'm glad to see it for one. So I don't think we really saw it under former managers the last however many years. Do you think there were any other managers, maybe Jose Mourinho, who were really as ruthless as Ten Hag? I don't think there were really any managers as
No,
ruthless as Ten Hag.
we kind of saw it barely with Ole with the whole De Gea and Henderson situation. Like we saw Henderson come into the team for a while, and De Gea was benched, but that never really panned out. Um, but I would say Ten Hag's definitely been the more ruthless of our recent managers. And I just wanted to comment on one thing you just said about not saying like De Gea is bad or he sucks or whatever, but saying those types of like positive comments towards players that are like widely not viewed that popular, it helps them get their it helps not it helps them um get their price up in the market too. If you say like De Gea is a bad keeper, I don't want him in my squad, I need a new keeper, it's gonna make other keepers more expensive for you to get because now clubs are saying oh, you're in need of a keeper, we can jack up our prices, and it like worsens your ability to sell some of your current players. Like if you're like Maguire is a horrible player, I don't want him in my team. Who's gonna wanna buy him? You know, so he is very careful with what he says in the media and how he treats our players, and it may not really reflect his true position or his true like views regarding our players.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I also think that's like you said, it's a good bargaining chip for, because if you did say Maguire, hey, he made this mistake in the Sevilla match, so I'm not going to play him for the rest of the season because he was such a detriment to the team in this match. That's no one's going to look at that and go, all right, we want to have this guy playing and making mistakes
Yeah,
for us. So you kind of have to label your players as you can't say any of your players are really bad. Obviously, you could say they can improve and stuff, but I think Ten Hag was really purposeful in all of his press conferences, just making sure that he didn't obviously want to just kill the confidence of any of his players, but at the same time, he wasn't going to reveal too much. So I think not revealing too much is a good thing because you don't really tell other teams what your plans are and stuff. And then also, I wanted to talk about De Gea a little bit. So we saw Marcus Rashford had recently posted a farewell picture, and on the farewell post on Instagram, I believe it said something like caption ideas.
yeah,
And then it said, yeah, and then it's a couple lines down. So it seemed people were on Twitter trolling him saying he used to search on ChatGPT and stuff.
Mhm.
But I don't know. For me, I find that really funny. I just like, it's probably his PR team anyways
It's
messing
definitely his
up.
PR team.
And he probably said something to De Gea behind the scenes anyways, so they're
Yeah,
probably fine. But it's just so funny how people overreact and they get mad at Rashford. And then also like, do you think that we had a bad way of, I don't know, because a lot of people came at me on Twitter and said we should have given De Gea his flowers at the end of the season in terms of giving him a standing ovation, telling him oh it's his last game and things like that. But for me, I don't like we didn't know whether it was his last game, and
exactly.
we know that we might have an idea that Ten Hag knew already that he wasn't going to roll with De Gea next year, but at the same time, Ten Hag doesn't know what his budget is fully because he doesn't know that the owner situation is, it's a weird situation. So we don't know whether we can actually go out and buy a goalkeeper. And so I think only recently Ten Hag found out that he does have the money for an Andre Onana. So I think only recently we actually fully knew that De Gea wouldn't be getting that contract. And so once we fully knew, it kind of got to the point. But sadly, it's just too late because like we can't give him that game where we're like, oh, it's his last game. But all these fans are like, oh, we treat him so poorly. For me, it's just like a tough situation for Ten Hag to be in because the owners, put him in a tough spot because he doesn't know whether he can buy a goalkeeper. Do you think he could have handled that situation any better? Because personally, I
Ten,
think he did it fine.
yeah, like you just said, Ten Hag's been in the dark for majority of this season or the back half of the season, just in terms of like what our budget's going to be, what kind of profiles we can buy, what positions to strengthen. Like he wasn't given all the tools like necessary to make those decisions early. So that's why we saw the De Gea. We saw a lot of. He was probably planning on giving De Gea a new contract just because we don't have any other options, or he didn't know if we would have any other options. So like you can't run out De Gea's contract without having a replacement come in. So the fact that he just hasn't had any information on that, just it, you can't really do anything about it. I'm sure the club will give him a testimonial match soon, like next summer maybe, or possibly even this summer. Like who knows? Because I mean, he was here for so long. Um, I mean, we're seeing like both him and Phil Jones leaving the club after like 12, 13 years.
It's insane.
I'm sure they could do something combined with
That's
those two or
insane.
something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really see anything more that the club could have done with this situation.